you are here, and I'm so happy that you have decided to join day one of my 5-day live session series, Unlock Your Communication Potential. So, if you ever heard the saying that the wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard, put a 1 in the chat. I want to see all those ones if you've ever heard someone say, the wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard. And I'm looking across my platforms to see who's commenting one. And so what that means is that because we have a limited mindset, because our mindset doesn't tell us that we are worthy of being a speaker, being an author, being a CEO, starting a business, starting a podcast, our dreams, our aspirations, our potentials, they die with us. And so my objective over these next 5 days, and particularly today, is to start with helping you shift your mindset so that you don't become one of those people who take your dreams, your aspirations, and your goals to the grave with you. And so welcome to day one. And this is going to be interactive. I'm not just here to talk at you or talk to you. I want you to talk with me. I want you to talk back as we move forward and talk about the power of mindset and communication. And what is that? That's harnessing your mindset for speaking success. And so some of you may be saying, oh, Dr. Harris, I'm in the wrong place. I'm not a speaker. Well, contrary to what you believe, if you are in here and you are a teacher, you are an evangelist, you are a poet, you are a coach, you are an author, you're a parent, you are a speaker. It's important for you to be able to speak and communicate effectively with whoever your audience is, whether it's women, whether it's your students, whether it's those listeners on your podcast, whether it's those people who come in to listen to you recite your poetry. So effective communication is vital. It's key. However, our communication is hindered because our mind makes us think that our words and our messages are not worthy to be heard. So what is going to be required from you as you transition and as you journey throughout your life and communicate effectively? It's going to start with a new mindset. Now, my administrative assistant, Maya, she knows that Dr. Tiffany, Coach Tiffany, it's a different person, right? They call me love. They might call me sister friend. But when I'm coming to coach you, when I'm coming to teach you, you get somebody completely different because I'm not here to play with you and let you play with your potential. I know what's required to go to the next level because I've had to do those things. And one of the very first things that I had to do was cultivate a new mindset. Type in the chat if you know that scripture, that verse in the Bible that talks about the renewing of your mind. And if you know what that verse is, I want you to put it in the chat. Now, Facebook, I can't see y'all, but I know y'all know what scripture I'm talking about. So I'm going to trust, but I'm going to go back and verify that you put in the chat that scripture. What is that scripture? I know you all know about Romans 12:2. There has to be a transformation. Why do you come into this week with the same mindsets, the same attitude, the same behaviors, the same habits that you had last week, and you think that this week you're going to see something different? It doesn't work that way. So put in the chat, this week, I will cultivate a new mindset. I tell people all the time who go through my coaching program, you cannot expect different results when you're showing up with the same behaviors. So there has to be a switch up here. You have to be tired of seeing the same thing and get out of that habit of blaming it on other people and then blaming it on your limited mindset that's keeping you stuck. So what is required? Romans 12:2 is required. So if you don't believe what I say, would you believe what the word says? Because it's right there. And so some people may be saying, oh, I thought we were coming to learn about communication. Yes, but it starts up here. It's a domino effect. As a man thinketh, he also doeth, right? So it starts up here. I was watching this documentary yesterday, and it's called Power Moves, and it's directed by Shaquille O'Neal. And he's doing this series where him and Allen Iverson, they are rebranding Reebok, right? And so he talked about how, Reebok was the hottest thing, one of the hottest sneakers. Nike was always first, and then Reebok back in the 80s and 90s. And how many of y'all put in the chat, yes, that was me, if you just had you a nice good old pair of Reeboks and you thought she was fly, right? That was the shoe to have. But he talked about along the way, Reebok fell to third place because Adidas bought them out. So he talked about this rebranding. He talked about this shift. He talked about this metamorphosis. And that's the same thing that has to happen with us. So we talking about Reebok being the top of the game back in the 80s and 90s, and here we are in 2025, and they trying to make a comeback. It's not too late for you to make a comeback, right? Shaq said he had to make up in his mind that it was time for them to make a name for themselves again. So you have to make up in your mind that it's time for you to get out there and use your voice in whatever arena that you go in and make a name for yourself and stand out. I don't care if you're in the boardroom, you in the classroom, you on the stage, you in your living room. Ha! You better open up your mouth and communicate. And I did that high because as I'm saying that about the living room, it reminded me when I first started speaking. I've been in this field for 10 years. And I started speaking to women in my living room of my home because my mind told me that I had something that needed to come out that was going to pour in and change the lives of other people. And it started with just 10 women. With my women's community, Win Women Empower. And for those of you who are on Zoom, you saw my introduction video. I had a conference last September with 100 women in red. So I literally, because my mind told me, yes, that I needed to show up and communicate in this way, I literally went from my living room to the boardroom. Shaq went from being the lowest on the totem pole to now coming back and rebranding and having people like Angel Reese wearing his Reebok sneaker. So what I'm saying to you is, it's not too late. Put that in the chat, wherever you're streaming from, and if you're able to, it's not too late. So whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Put in the chat, what do you think that quote means by Henry Ford? What do you think that means? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That means that what you put up here is going to create a feeling of either self-doubt, it's going to create a feeling of confidence, it's going to create a feeling of fear, it's going to create a feeling of assurance. And then in turn, you're going to see either actions where you're going to go out there like Shaq and you're going to create these opportunities, you're going to set up these meetings and use your voice to make connections, use your voice to communicate and establish relationships, use your voice and communicate to reach your goals, or you're not. Because fear sets in and tell you that you're not good enough. Fear sets in and tells you, because there are already so many other authors up there, you don't need to get up and do an excerpt from your book and communicate and let people know your story. So that's what this quote means by Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So you have to make that decision on what you're going to deposit up here, so that there's this internal shift before there's outward movement. This is an inside job. It starts from the inside out. Some people get up and say, oh, but they don't believe in me. Oh, who cares about that? What do you believe? Right? What are you depositing in here that's going to create that forward motion? So when I was watching this documentary on Netflix, and if you haven't seen it, I want you to go and watch it. It's Power Move. And it wasn't, I took so many different things from what Shaquille O'Neal was saying. And he talked about how at one point he didn't like his name. But then he remembered something that his mother always said: you always want to make people remember you. So he embraced that name. And then when he began to develop his craft, there were certain things he said he had to deposit in his mind so that he can show up and be bold and be dominant and take over. So he actually literally, while he's sitting there doing his interview, he kind of did this illustration. He was like, what I did was I had to go, boop, open up my mind, and I had to deposit this, that, put the top back on, let's go. Like literally. So you've heard me talk about mindset, right? And some of you may be thinking, well, look, Dr. Harris keeps dropping mindset, 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 mindset. What is that? Your mindset is the set of beliefs that you have, the attitudes that you have, the thoughts that you have, the perspective and perception that you have about your ability, about your capabilities. Okay? And so there's a difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And so a fixed mindset essentially is that you see everything as black and white. There is no alternative. There is no room to grow. There is no room to do better. There is no room to try again. Oh, woe is me. They didn't like it. Oh, I'm never going to write a book again. Oh, I'm never going to get on stage again. I don't want to teach those students anymore. That's a fixed mindset. Now, while a growth mindset is one where we welcome seemingly mistakes and we view them as opportunities to pivot. We use them as opportunities to go back to the drawing board. We use them as opportunities, right, to transition and to transform. So that is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And so here are 3 ways that will help you shift your mindset, because my core belief is that when you shift your mindset, it's going to shift the trajectory of your life. Shift your mindset, shift your life. Put that in the chat box. When I shift my mindset, it's going to shift my life. I remember those days when I didn't want to communicate and ask for help. So while you are on Zoom and you saw this beautiful video of me showing up and speaking on all these stages, and I'm blessed and grateful to God that I've been able to speak on stages in over 20 different countries. I've been able to reach over 25,000 people and serve and change lives. But there was a time that my voice was hidden and it was a whisper because I thought nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. But I had to shift my own mindset in order to be the legendary speaker that I am today, to be the most impactful coach that I am today. And how did I do that? I want you all to write this down. 3 ways to shift your mindset. I need one of my admin individuals here on Zoom to put it in a chat box for me. 1, I want you to embrace a growth mindset. Not just today, not just this month, but for the rest of your life. Sometimes these new months come in and people are like, hello, June, I'm going to do this. And oh, welcome to the new year. I'm going to do this. And this time I'm going to transform my mind. No, every day, embrace a growth mindset. Every day. The only limits that you put on yourself are the limits that you put on your mind. Every day you have to embrace a growth mindset and look at the opportunities and the chances for you to do something again and do it better than you did it before. It's all a learning process. 2, I want you to practice gratitude. Be thankful for where you are. Be thankful for every opportunity. Be thankful that you have that position as the CEO. Be thankful that you have that position as the owner of the daycare academy. Be thankful that you're in that classroom with the students. Practice gratitude. Like I'm really excited here. Like, so later on in the series, make sure y'all come back tomorrow and bring somebody back with y'all. Tell them about this. I can't move on and dive into communication and tell you about limiting beliefs and tell you about affirmations and tell you how to structure a speech if y'all mindset's not right. If you haven't embraced a growth mindset. People come to me all the time. I can't tell you, my inbox is flooded. My emails are flooded. And people say, did you see my message? Probably not. I get so many messages. Hey, Dr. Harris, can you be my coach? Or when is the next masterclass? Shift your mindset and speak. I've gone through several different cohorts and I've been able to coach authors, speakers, poets, evangelists, pastors, CEOs on how to master their communication skills, how to speak on any stage effectively. But none of that matters if you don't have the right mindset. So I don't just come in and show you how, okay, these are the 4 W's. This is how you do a speaker sheet. This is what branding looks like. I would be remiss. I wouldn't be a great coach if I just jump right in. Because while you're asking for my services, it's something blocking up here where you really don't believe that you deserve to communicate and control and take over and stand out in any room. This isn't, again, if you were here in the beginning, this isn't just for people who speak on a stage underneath lights. You're a daycare owner, you're a speaker. You're a parent, you're a speaker. You're a principal, you're a speaker. You're a pastor, you're a speaker. You have to be able to communicate with clarity, with conviction, and with confidence. So 3, surround yourself with positive influences. What does that look like? Community, 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 community. I have a couple of them. There are some people on here, whether you're on Zoom, TikTok, Instagram, you are part of my community. It's called Win Women Empower. We are the #1 God-led and faith-based international women's community. Judgment-free zone. I allow women to come on my platform and communicate and practice their communication skills on Thursdays. Come check us out. Go see us on Facebook at Win Women Empower. Get connected with our membership opportunities. I have a mastermind, Shift Your Mindset and Speak, a community of individuals who want to be able to talk about their challenges, their wins. They want to be able to go over their speech as they're preparing to take the stage, whether it's the conference room, the boardroom, the classroom, it doesn't matter. Get connected to community. And so I'm thankful for my community that I've created. And I'm also thankful for the communities that I've invested in with Lisa Nichols and with Eric Thomas, who are my coaches. So community is very important. And when we're talking about positive influences, I'm part of a success team with Dr. Nadia Sherwood and Dr. Belinda Allen. And we get to meet and we get to collaborate. And we get to confide in each other. And we get to uplift each other. And we get to pour in each other. So surround yourself with those positive influences. And so the connection between mindset and communication. And so as you see here, if you're on Zoom, so if you're on TikTok, and if you're on Instagram Live, and you're on Facebook, you're like, well, what? I can't see the slides. I didn't see her powerful presentation in the beginning. You can still go and click the link in the post on my page, and you can register so that you will get access to the Zoom and you can see everything else that everyone else is privy to see. So mindset affects your confidence. If you're up here in your mind and you already pouring in the negative thoughts, if you already coming in with a fixed mindset, that internal, those emotions, you may feel scared. You may feel uncomfortable. You will feel unsure, right? So that's going to affect your confidence and how you show up. It's going to affect your clarity of thought. So while you should be focusing on your speech or what you're going to be communicating during your workshop or during a conference, your mind is clouded with, what if I, what if I stumble? Or what if I stutter? Or what if I forget? Right? So you have to work on getting away from those thoughts and putting into your mind, and we're going to talk about this in the next couple slides, those affirmations that's going to counter those negative thoughts that you have about your ability to communicate. But I don't sound like this person. I don't communicate. Like, that's not, God didn't call you to communicate. Do you know that when you question and you doubt how you were created and how you communicate and how your words come out, or your voice isn't high enough or your voice isn't deep enough, you're insulting God and telling him that you're not okay. You're unhappy with how he created you. No, no, seriously, I want you to think about that. I need you to accept and embrace who you are, your unique gifts, your unique talents. Those are your superpowers. Put that in the chat. My gifts and my talents are my superpowers. I never get on any platform and aspire to communicate like Eric Thomas. And if y'all all know, he's powerful and he's like, yeah, because if you want to succeed as bad as you want to bring, he's like clapping it. I don't do that. Some people have this misconception that louder is more impactful. That's not the case. If you've ever seen me speak, you don't see me yell. You don't see me run back and forth across the stage. You see me show up as my authentic self, and you see the results. You've seen the testimonials. You've heard the praise from people. You've seen that I've been on several stages different times because I've been invited to come back because I stayed true to who I was. Because in my mind, I'm an unforgettable speaker. In my mind, my words have power. What I'm putting in my mind is that what I'm going to say is going to make a difference in the lives of these children that I'm speaking to. Because in my mind, what I'm going to say is going to help heal another woman. So I need you all to get to that point. It also affects the perception by the audience. So your mindset and communication. So if you have this mindset that, oh, well, the audience, they're not going to like me. They're not going to gravitate towards me. Oh, they didn't clap for me. But if they don't clap for me, that means that I'm not doing a good job. I need y'all to turn that switch off. When I'm doing my coaching sessions and during my last cohort with Shift Your Mindset and Speak, I was telling my students, when individuals are quiet and you're communicating, it doesn't mean that they're not listening. It's just the opposite. They're so locked in. They're so engaged. and they're soaking up and processing everything that you have to say. So please get away from that misconception that loud is more impactful, that hand claps or their lack thereof means that you are not hitting home and stirring up emotions. No, you have your audience right where you want them to be. Okay. All right. So here's some benefits of a growth mindset and communication. It enhances resilience. Right. So when you have that growth mindset, you're able to bounce back. You're open to feedback. I don't know about you all, but I want to learn. I always want to improve. I always want to go to the next level. I always want to grow. I always want to do better. And so even if people never come and give me feedback, you better believe I'm going and asking for it. Like, so what did you think? Like, what could I do differently? I'm asking. Don't be afraid of feedback. So one of the things I also do is I am a course instructor for an organization called Girls with Impact, and I teach an entrepreneurship course. And in that course, I talk to the young ladies about building out we call it their impact project, right? And so one of the things I talk to them about is being open to feedback, accept feedback, welcome feedback. Don't be scared of it. Don't run away from it. Run to it. Don't you want to get better? Don't you want to evolve? Feedback is a great tool to use to see what worked, what didn't work. So be open to feedback. Be there. And then the benefits of a growth mindset and communication, there's this greater willingness to take risk. So I'll tell you, so I've invested, and I tell people, put this in the chat box. The greatest investment that you can make is an investment in yourself. So I've invested thousands of dollars in my personal and professional development, in educating myself related as it relates to communication and public speaking. I tell people I am a great coach because I am a great student. And so I invested in myself and I joined Lisa Nichols' program officially. And so if you know me, you know I've been rocking and rolling with her since my daughter was up to my knees, and now my daughter towers over me. So that gives you an idea of how long. And when I went to one of her conferences, I saw someone do something that was so impactful. It just gave this clear vision of what it was, the subject matter he was presenting on. And what he did was a whole wardrobe change during his presentation. I said, "Oh, I like that. I've never done that, but I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to do it." Right? I need y'all to get out of your comfort zone. Y'all too comfortable. That's why you're not moving. Don't be afraid of the discomfort, because on the other side of that discomfort is where your success is waiting for you. So I had to speak in Georgia last year for a judge who has a recidivism program. And at the end of this 12-month program, the young men who complete her program, she has a graduation ceremony for them in her courtroom. And so that day, my stage was in the courtroom in Georgia. So I'm here in Philadelphia, for those of you who don't know. So I flew from Philadelphia to Georgia. And as I was preparing for my speech and how I wanted to communicate my message with them, I said, I'm going to do a wardrobe change in the middle of my presentation. Right. And so I had to make sure that what I was communicating was in alignment with my audience. So it was juvenile offenders. So for those of you who don't know, there was a time when I was incarcerated, when I got arrested. Right. And so I know y'all like, what? She did what? I know, right? I say the same thing. There was a time. And I'm grateful that I don't look like what I've been through. And so I wanted to show them what it looked like when I dressed in all black and I was a lookout person and the getaway driver for robberies. And I showed them why I made those poor decisions and engaged in those activities. And then I showed them what it looked like to peel back those layers and take off the low self-esteem, the people-pleasing behaviors. And they were blown away. So that was a risk. I've never done that. You talking about in the middle of a courtroom at that, where it was judges in there, judges, lawyers, bailiffs, mayors, different political figures, council members, all types of people, other speakers, people from nonprofits. But because I have this growth mindset, I was willing to take the risk, right? I was all in. I need y'all to go all in. Put that in the chat. I am all in. You are holding up your next. You're holding up the dream that needs to become your reality. It's all on you. And so, what I want you to do, I want to help you identify. I want you to identify your current mindset. So, I want you to think about these 3 questions and you can put the response in the chat box. How do you react to criticism? Put that in the chat. How do you seek opportunities to improve? How do you handle mistakes? I can't help you with your communication. I can't help you with your speaking skills if we don't tackle this mindset. Because then you're going to come back to me. And then I've heard people say this about other people. Oh, well, I went through this program and it didn't work and I didn't. You came into it with the wrong mindset. So you didn't put your best foot forward, which meant that you're not going to see the results that you want to see because you didn't do the work. So let me help you do the work and be honest with yourself. How do you react to criticism? How do you seek opportunities to improve? And how do you handle mistakes? And my hope is that you would answer these questions from a perspective of someone who has a growth mindset. And I can't see everybody's chat. TikTok is moving too fast and I can't. So answer these questions at your own leisure. And then I want you to set mindset affirmations for communication. It's one of the last things I want you to do. Affirmations are going to be critical as you work towards maintaining a growth mindset or shifting to a growth mindset if you're not there yet. You have to affirm yourself. If nobody else does it, you have to affirm yourself. You have to tell yourself that you belong in the stage, on the stage. You have to tell yourself that those children need your skills, your expertise, and your wisdom. You have to tell yourself that your workshop will leave a lasting impact on not just the attendees, but the event host. Like you have to affirm yourself. We get so caught up in getting flowers and recognition and accolades from everybody else. When was the last time you clapped for yourself? When was the last time you patted yourself on the back? When was the last time you spoke into yourself? When was the last time you said, I am great? Not only do I want you to affirm yourself and make mindset affirmations for your communication, I want you to make it personal by putting your name on it. Dr. Tiffany R. Harris has a voice that will reach people across the nations. What's yours? You have to figure out what you need and stop waiting for everybody else. So your mindset's for affirmation. All right. So every time I do these lives and I say I'm going to be on here for 30 minutes, I end up being on here longer. And I know today there were some issues in the beginning because people kept calling my phone. and it was throwing off my devices. But I do just want to do a quick recap. I appreciate you all for being here. Again, whether you are a CEO, you are an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're a teacher, you're a professional, you're a speaker, you're a poet, you're a coach, you're an author, you are a speaker. And being able to master the art of effective communication is going to be important in everything that you do. I remember I went to a networking event sometime last year, and I noticed that there were people sitting in a corner, like literally sitting in the corner on their phone. And I said, oh, she has not mastered the art of communication. She's here at a networking event and should be talking about her business, but she's not. Let me go help her. So saying all that, and she's a cosmetologist. So again, cosmetologist, you have to be able to communicate the services. Let people know about the problems that you solve. Right? So I want you to remember the importance of and the correlation between your mindset and communication. Foster a growth mindset. Practice gratitude. Yeah. Take risk. Be open to feedback. Yeah. I don't want you to be one of those people that let your dreams go to the graveyard. So when you work with me, whether you're doing this free live or whether you come in through one of my coaching programs, there's homework. So TikTok, Instagram, y'all can't see the homework, but I want y'all to practice one technique this week. So whether it's going to be practicing gratitude, whether you're going to be open to feedback, whether you're going to adapt a growth mindset, what are you going to do this week that's going to help you improve your communication skills? And if you want extra credit, I want you to go and join my free Facebook community, Shift Your Mindset and Speak. You got to go on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, Shift Your Mindset and Speak, and join that community. And I want you to post your homework in there. Tell me one technique that you're going to practice this week that's going to help you improve your communication and shift your mindset. And so that is our session for today. I'm so grateful for all of you for being here across these multiple platforms. This has been great. I will go back and read all of your comments. I haven't been able to see them while I'm live, but I hope that this has been helpful for you. And if you found it helpful, I just want you to post a comment in the chat box about one of your takeaways, just one of your takeaways from this morning. Make sure if you have not registered, you go ahead and register so that you can be here with us on Zoom and you can see all the good stuff on this side and not just hear about it from one of these other platforms. Also, make sure that you're sharing. Share, and let other people know that we will be here tomorrow through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. I look forward to staying connected. If you are not following me, go to Facebook at Dr. Tiffany R. Harris. You can go to Instagram, Mindset Shift with Tiff. I need my admin people to drop that in the chat box. And then you can also go to TikTok, Mindset Shift with Tiff. And then you can follow me on YouTube as well at Mindset Shift with Tiff. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Keynote speaker, who is Dr. Tiffany Harris, a devoted wife and mother who wears many hats. She's not just an in-demand, international, award-winning inspirational speaker. She's also a coach, a mindset coach, a mentor, and a three-time author. She has a growing consulting company called Shift Your Mindset and Dream Big at LLC. That sounds good, doesn't it? With 2 prestigious Change Maker of the Year awards under her belt, she's also a Business Grammy nominee, a Faith Made Millionaire nominee, and an alum of the Ignite Speakers program developed by the one and only Lisa Nichols. Beyond those titles, Dr. Harris is the visionary behind Win Women Empower, a global women's membership community. Her mission is to empower individuals worldwide to transform their mindset, allowing them to reach new heights in all aspects of their lives, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. At the core of Dr. Harris's philosophy lies the belief that shifting your mindset can also alter the course of your life. Get ready to soar, scale, and succeed with Dr. Harris leading the way.
Hi, my name is Tess, and I'm a marketer. I just I was trying to I tell you, she affirmed me. I tell everything is known my greatest self. I feel so good and integrated and empowered.
It's a really good and powerful message. Everybody really thought that it was good. I was looking around the room to like see how everybody's reaction was, and they had very like a strong emotional, agreement in the speech. And even my ELA teacher, she was taken aback and she loved it. And I know Miss Kurt loved it. She amazing actually. Speech was fantastic. Dr. Harris's speech was so wonderful and so inspirational. I think the children are going to really listen to what she had to say and keep it in their minds while they're going through high school. I know my granddaughter will keep it in mind, and I really was inspired listening to her.
She inspired me and she gave us just being, thorough and her not her favorite color, but she wear a lot of red. Yeah, I like red.
I feel like she was very genuine and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very inspiring. And when she talked about her past, it inspired me to do better. And that's what I just loved about the whole speech and what she brought to the table.